Hi, everyone, and welcome to More Books with B. Sharice. I'm your host, B. Sharice Moore. And before we get started, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you had a restful weekend. Hope that you were able to chill, read, get some things done. And now you're here, and I'm thankful for it. All right, first and foremost, let's get some housekeeping things out of the way. Grab your pens, grab your pencils, grab your phone, grab your notebook, anything that you can take notes with, because I want to share some things with you today that I think will be valuable for your homeschoolers, for your classrooms, and honestly, for adults as well. Okay, so today's book is Find Your Voice, A Guide to Self-Expression by Zetta Elliott. All right. The book is Find Your Voice, A Guide to Self-Expression by Zetta Elliott. Okay, so you can find out more about Zetta Elliott on her website, zettaelliott.com. I will put that in the description section for you so you can check out Zetta Elliott. She's an amazing author. She's written more than 30 books. And the book that I've chosen today is a nonfiction workbook. I had the opportunity to meet Zeta Elliott and I dialogue with her a lot on Facebook. She's extremely helpful, and I just love her energy and I love her work. And so do my students. I have a few of her other books in my classroom library, and they're extremely popular. Okay, so find your voice. First and foremost, one of the things that I love about Find Your Voice is that she gives a lot of personal advice that really resonates with your readers. Okay. So she talks about her journey toward being a writer, and she talks about writer's block, and she also talks about how she didn't really consider herself a poet at first. But by persevering and continuing to write and allowing nature to really influence her, she came into her own voice. And Find Your Voice is all about how young people and adults, okay, can find their voice in writing, because that's something that's so important. So very important to find your own unique voice and tell the stories that you want to tell, not just mimic those that you really enjoy. All right. Secondly, she introduces poetic devices. All right, like simile, metaphor, form. All right. She introduces those. She defines them. She also provides examples through poetry. So if she asks the reader to write a haiku, she's already provided a sample. Okay. If she asks the writer to brainstorm in a word cloud, there is space for the reader to actually do so. All right. Um, she even has an activity in this book. It's a workbook. All right. So there's space for your students to write. All right. She also has a really cool activity that includes drawing and gathering pictures of your favorite things. And she likens it to this front cover of all the things that really make up who she is as a writer. And once again, she does an excellent job of modeling the activities that she wants you to actually complete in this workbook. And that's something that I absolutely love. As a teacher, modeling is something that you can never really do enough of. You want your students to see you actually completing the task that you're giving them to complete. And that actually makes pretty much a lot of sense, right? I don't want to tell somebody to just, put together a television. There's obviously directions, and the directions model how you can do it. Okay, same thing goes for the classroom. So a lot of us don't follow those directions, but they're always there, and that's best practice. Okay. The next thing, again, this is a workbook, so there's tons of space here provided for you to write, for you to brainstorm, and for you to experiment, which is something I absolutely love about this book. And I love this book because honestly, while reading it, I found myself inspired. The only reason why I did not like write inside of it is because first and foremost, I had it in my classroom library, And I forbid my students to write in it because I wanted them to actually take the activities and try them on their own on a separate sheet. And of course, even when I took this out of my classroom library for the summer and brought it home with me, I thought about this YouTube channel and I did not want to write in it because I knew, hey, I want to be able to show a book that is blank and free of any writing. But again, I was extremely tempted because I wanted to brainstorm and the book just made me want to write. All right. Again, she has advice that resonates. She also does a great job of encouraging people to revise and edit. And that's something that you can never encourage your students enough. Though we do have a rough draft and we do have final drafts, it's really important that when writing creatively, we tell our students that no draft is really ever final. There's always room to revise and improve on what it is that you want to write. Okay, so she encourages revision, which is something I absolutely love. All right. So as far as the activity, because this is a workbook, all right, and it's full of activities, I thought about something. I thought about chapbooks. All right, so wow, back in the early 2000s, late 90s, I was a slam poet and really a performance poet. I usually hated the word slam poet, but a lot of people are familiar with that term, so occasionally I use it. But I slammed and I performed at coffee shops and poetry venues throughout the country. And back in the late 90s and early 2000s, you actually created chapbooks. All right, so poets who were regulars, poets who were really, really serious about their craft. They didn't see it as just a hobby, created chapbooks. And a chapbook is a small pamphlet and it's full of poems. All right. Usually at the most you'd have maybe 15 to 20 poems, but occasionally I would see more than that. All right. But it's a paperback book that you can assemble easily, through Kinko's, or honestly, if you have a printer and some staples at home, you can do that. So I would suggest having your students take the poems that they've written in Find Your Voice, okay, and create their own chapbook, okay? And to take it a step further, those of your students who really enjoy visual art, they like to draw, they like to paint, allow them to illustrate those poems or illustrate the front of that chapbook, okay? And create a project. So in the description section, I will have a link to Zetta's website, zettaelliott.com. I will also have two links to some explicit instructions on how to create a chapbook. All right. So those instructions will be explicit, and I found this online. It's not something that I did individually. It's not an original activity like the activity that I had you do a couple episodes ago. All right. And what's cool about this activity is it actually incorporates form. And Zeta does talk about form, which are basically poems with rules. Okay. Some of those poems have syllable counts that you have to follow. Some of them also have line counts and rhyme requirements, things like that. So she discusses some of those in here, and you can explore, your students can explore with that as well. So look for that in the description section. And this also aligns with, I would say, your Common Core Writing 5.3 standard. I would suggest this is a great book to share with students in grade 5 and up. You can go as low as 4, all right? That's up to you. But I would say 5 and up ideally. So again, like, comment, subscribe, and share. ZettaElliott.com. The book is Find Your Voice, A Guide to Self-Expression. Thank you for tuning in to more books with me, B. Sharice, and I'll see you next time. Take care.